Hi, Assalamualaikum and good afternoon. Welcome to the show Let's Experts Say. I am Umi Syahira binti Muhammad Fazli, the host of this show. So today we will discuss about the importance of Strategic Trade Act in Malaysia. Before that, I would like to welcome and introduce our guest panelists, the Assistant Director Tuan Hanif Hamzah from Royal Custom Malaysia. So Tuan, how are you?
I'm good. Very good evening to our host. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. So next, I would like to introduce our second guest panelist on the Senior Assistant Director of Royal Custom Malaysia, Dr. Fatini Arfina. So how are you, Doctor?
Alhamdulillah. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine, thank you. So
Thank
before
you
we
for
get
inviting.
started, okay, before we get started on today's topic, I would like to express a warm welcome to both of our panelists and express my gratitude for their willingness to participate in this show. Okay, without further ado, let's start our discussion for today. As we know, Malaysia faced an issue of being a nation that has been used for transit and transshipments, brokering of strategic goods and technology that makes it possible to create weapons. So Malaysia as a member of United Nations has been required to develop and implement an efficient export control system for the purpose of preventing the spread of weapon of mass destruction. And Malaysia has created a law as required, which is Strategic Trade Act. So that is all the basic introduction of STA from me. For further explanation and detailed understanding, I would like to ask a few questions to our beloved panelists. So may I ask Tuan Hanif Hamzah, can you briefly explain what Strategic Trade Act actually is?
All right. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good afternoon to all. Firstly, I would like to thank to our host today, Miss Umi, for inviting me into this show. Uh, as we know, our government implement the Strategic Trade Act into our nation. But the question is, what is the Strategy Act, or we call it the STA? So basically, Malaysia, uh, be- before Malaysia implement the STA, one of the company in Malaysia named Scomis was supplying aluminium centrifuge component for Libya nuclear weapon program. So from that event, others country around the Malaysia look Malaysia as a transit or hub for providing weapon component. So Malaysia required to follow the policy that has been subjected from United Nations. Uh, United Nations, World Custom Organization, and World Trade Organization under resolution UNSCR 1540, where we need to take and enforce effective measure to establish domestic control to prevent of nuclear weapon, chemical weapon, biological weapon of delivery, which mean as the member of organization, Malaysia need to control and stop a spread of the compartment that possible to make a weapon, and we need to avoid weapon mass destruction occurred in Malaysia. So Malaysia started to implement the STA in 2010, and the STA is the one of the under Ministry International Trade and Industry Supervise, and the Department of Royal Custom Malaysia is an agency that enforce the STA into our nation. So there are several type of the good or commodity under the STA that can be import, export, transit and transshipment into Malaysia. But it is need to have a permit from MITI or organization that related on that goods. We call it those goods as the strategic goods or strategic item. For example, I give a simple example here. The strategic good, which is military item, nuclear material facilities and equipment, special material, electronic compartment, computer, telecommunication, and information security. So those are the goods are required to have a permit before import and export. So if any industry in Malaysia want to import and export or any type of transshipment of the good into our nation, they need to have a permission, or we call it as a permit that related to the authorities. For the example, it is about the compartment of electronic or computer. The industry need to have a permit from MITI and SIRIM to being import and export or transit in Malaysia. So in generally, the STA is a law or policy that controlling domestic good and all those type of the good being to create the weapon. So that's the simple of the STA. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So according to Tuan Hanif Hamzah explanation, so Malaysia implement STA to control the distribution of commodities that can be used to manufacture weapons. So these types of item, if want to be exported or import, needs an authorization of MITI. Is it right?
Yes, it is right, Mr. Umi.
Okay, thank you, Tuan Hanif. So, um, next question, I would like to ask Dr. Fatini a question about why do we need to implement STA in our nation?
Thank you, Miss, for the great question. Okay, first of all, as we know that Malaysia is one of the developing countries around Asia and also has a large number of import and export activities that increase Malaysian economies, which mean the economy of Malaysia is the fourth largest in Southeast Asia. So, in this case, Malaysia strongly needed STA, which is the implementation of STA, to protect the nation from the prohibited goods landed into this nation and also to avoid being placed for creating dangerous weapons such as nuclear or also as stated by Hanif lah. And also in 2004, the UN Security Council has passed a resolution requesting that members of nation to set up an export control system to prevent the spread of weapon of mass destruction, which is WMD. So, as a member of state, which is Malaysia included, we have been asked to control export of strategic product that could be used and utilized in non-proliferation of weapons of the mass destruction activities. In addition, the implementation STA also important in enhance Malaysia's image and also to build confidence among the foreign investor to invest in Malaysia, facilitating and also managing the export of high technology goods and components from Malaysia to other countries. So, shortly to say that STA importance in developing the economies and increase the confidence level of the trader to trade more in Malaysia.
Okay, basically the implementation of Strategic Trade Act is not only for fulfilling our commitment as United Nations member, but STA actually helps us to sustain our country image and protect Malaysian exporter from being prohibited, as well as protects our own economy, is it?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Fatini, for the explanation. So next, I have a question that I would like to ask Tuan Hanif Hamzah. So actually, how far has STA been adopted in Malaysia, Tuan?
Right. Thank you for that question. So I want to share a case that happened in Malaysia before we implement the STA. The Port Klang the authorities at the Port Klang confiscate the cargo suspected of being related to weapon mass destruction, which was heading from China to Iran on board on Malaysia flag vessel. The Southeast Asian nation has been used as a permit point for illegal weapon trafficking. The latest cargo involved Chinese components suspected to be for use in Iran nuclear program. Police and custom official had two container of equipment believed that are used to make a weapon mass destruction, including a nuclear. So we can see here all the agency, private sector and Malaysia government itself play important role and they work together and take this issue of STA very seriously. In addition, currently there is a teamwork between Malaysia Maritime Enforcement Agency, Singapore Police Guard, and Indonesia Maritime Security Body known as Badan SAR Nation and Badan Keamanan Laut Republic of Indonesia in regard to overseeing illegal activity on the high sea of the three countries. So the defense minister and transport minister of the Malaysia call for strong effort for the working arrangement of the, we call it eyes of the sky, and join between Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, and Indonesia for further stronger relationship. Besides that, activities such as sharing intelligence, joint enforcement operation, build of a build a trust and cooperation between the government. So we can see here, Malaysia take very seriously in implementing the STA and build a cooperation between other countries about this issue of weapon mass destruction. So I can say the STA was going good in Malaysia, and it is no issue. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tuan, for answering my question very clearly. So next, let's move to the next question for Dr. Fatini. So when we are talking about the implementation of Strategic Trade Act in Malaysia, there will be definitely agency involved in implementing this Strategic Trade Act. So I would like to know what agency are involved in this implementation. So can you explain to us, Dr. Fatini?
Sure. Okay, so actually there are a lot of agencies in Malaysia that is involved themselves to the implementation of STA. And the major one is MITI, and everyone knows that. So strategic controller has been appointed by the ministry in charge of MITI to act as the focal point for the administration of STA. Apart from the controller, The MCMC, together with the relevant agencies, are also designed as the licensing and enforcement authorities under the STA 2010. So, partner in licensing agencies other than MITI is also there is also Pharmaceutical Services Division, which is more to chemical and biological license. Also MCMC, as mentioned earlier, that is in charge for telecommunication and electronics. And there is also AELB, that is for more to nuclear related items lah. And other than licensing, there are also for enforcement agencies that make overview and audit for the STA regulation. There is PDRM, Maritime Enforcement, Royal Malaysian Custom itself, AELB, Pharmacy, Bank Rakyat, Suruhanjaya Security, and also there is Labuan FSA.
So that's it. That's all, Dr. Fatini.
Yeah, so far that is the major one.
Okay, so as you explained, there are several agencies involved according to their specific sector, such as Pharmaceutical Service Division that focus on licensing biology and chemical, while MC which focus on telecommunication and electronic equipment. Okay, thank you, Dr. Fatini. So my next question is for Tuan Hanif. Could you tell us about the importance of STA?
All right. Thank you. That's such a good question and very interesting. I feel so excited to answer that question, Ms. Umi. Okay. The STA is important for several reasons, including it is obligation under the United Nations Security Council resolution, like we have been told, UNSCR 1440. So the STA is the STA is also important in promoting the country image due to Malaysia's role as the strategic trade and transit route for the STA goods. Malaysia can take action to minimize the spread of the STA item without permit by implementing the STA. So the STA is also aimed to preventing Malaysia exporter for being exploited by those who profit from their activities not com- while not compromise while not I'm sorry. Aside from that, the STA is very critical in improving Malaysia image and increase international investor trust in this country. This is because investor would feel more secure and confident in investing in Malaysia market if they are aware about the act. Lastly, if Malaysia implement the STA, the nation will also be to contribute to the maintenance of international peace and security by preventing the proliferation of weapon of mass destruction if it complied with this international obligation. So it is very important. It is not just important to our country. It is very important to our nation economy, citizen, and also the diplomation between Malaysia and other country. That's all.
Okay, so there's a lot of importance of implementing SDA, especially to Malaysia, which is Malaysia act as the strategic trade and transit route for strategic act goods. So we move to the next question that I would like to ask Dr. Fatini. So just now, Tuan Hanif had explained to us the importance of SDA, and now Dr. Fatini, would you like to explain a bit about the benefits that Malaysia gain from implementing this act?
Sorry, there is a disruption because it's raining heavily here. What's the question again?
Okay, the question is, would you like to explain a bit about the benefits that Malaysia gain in implementing Strategic Trade Act?
Oh, okay, sure. Actually, by implementing the STA, it can benefit the country in a variety of ways, that including the protecting the country's goods name and image, and also ensuring the country is a safe country by preventing the spread of strategic goods or the WMD lah, and also other activities that threaten the economy and the country's exporters. By means, they are secured from the proliferators and those who profit from their actions without hurting the legal strategic trade or marketing Malaysia as a safe place to do trade with. Okay, other than that, a good perception that Malaysia is a safe environment is very important to conduct trade and also to locate investments in sensitive product and technology as well as to secure trading partners.
Thank you, Dr. Fatini. So we have come to the end of this discussion. Before that, I would like to ask our panelists about the recommendation to improve the implementation of STA in Malaysia. So please, Dr. Fatini.
Don't you want to answer this question?
No, I just leave to Dr. Fatini answer. I think the answer from Dr. Fatini more better than me.
Okay. Okay. For answer the question, this is just my opinion. In order to avoid the negative consequences for the world and world society, it is the best for the Malaysian government and the other UN states in collaboration with custom organizations to prioritize weapon of mass destruction, which is WMD issues, by restricting and implementation of Strategic Trade Act, and also promising heavy penalty under law so that the traders will not easily and more alert to what they are doing and trading.
You done?
Yes, so far that's it.
Okay, thank you, Doctor, for the fantastic idea, and hopefully STA can be implemented well and efficiently in Malaysia. So before we end the show, I would like to express my gratitude to our guest panelists, Tuan Hanif Hamzah and Dr. Fatini, for coming and sharing your knowledge and information on the Strategic Trade Act with us. So that's all for today's discussion. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you for inviting us to this show. Thanks a lot, Dr. Fatini.
Okay, welcome.
Yes. Thank you also for the host, even though we can't meet face to face, but it's a great program.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. So bye bye.